Hey everyone, it's Alison Heikkila. Thank you so much for joining me for my latest project with Imagine. We're going to be making a tag today that would be perfect for, say, an invitation for a 4th of July party. Maybe it's for a hostess gift. There's a bunch of things that you can use this tag for. I have a shipping tag that I got from Staples. You can use whatever kind of tag you might have at home. Maybe you want to die cut your own tag if you have a die that will work with that. And I've just got mine stuck on my gel press plate. I have Memento inks in Danube blue, Paris Dusk, and Nautical blue. And we're going to be blending these colors right onto the tag. So I've just got a basic Dollar Tree blending brush. These are super inexpensive. Again, it's from the dollar store. And I'm just going to blend these colors, starting with the Danube blue. And check it out, guys. You can put your dewdrop ink pad right on the plate and it keeps it from moving around, which is super helpful. I'm going to be using the same brush for all 3 colors. You don't have to worry about them mixing together or anything. We're using just shades of blue, so it'll be fine. If I was doing like a pink and then maybe a yellow, I'd want to clean off my brush or grab a second brush, but we're just using deepening shades of blue, so it's totally fine to just keep using that same brush. So I'm just blending these colors. My tag happens to be manila, which I really like. It kind of dulls down the color a little bit more. But if you have a white tag, that's totally fine too. I'm going to finish this off with the Nautical blue. I probably could have done the Paris Dusk on the bottom. It seems to be a little bit darker than the Nautical blue on camera here. I do wind up going back into the Paris Dusk and adding a little bit more to that just to deepen that Nautical blue. Just because I don't want the deepest color to be in the middle there like that. So we'll add some of that Paris Dusk to the bottom and that will deepen that Nautical color and make it even darker than the Paris Dusk. And that's a really nice looking blend that we've got going on. I went back into the Nautical blue just to have that color on top, but they all kind of blend together anyway, so it's all good. Now I have Golden Glitz Delicata Reinker. We're going to wind up using the stamp pad itself later, but for this part of the process, we're going to just use the Reinker. And I grabbed a brand new sponge dauber and the Night Sky stencil from A Colorful Life Designs. So I'm just adhering this to my stencil just by using the gel press plate. This is another great reason to use a plate like this. It makes it easy for the stencils to stay in place. You don't have to worry about adhesive, especially because this stencil doesn't have any areas where you need to worry about like you'd shift like really skinny lines or something like that. We just have stars and it's really not going to move around on us. So using that Delicata Reinker and the sponge dauber, I'm just applying that color directly to my tag. And you do want to, I have to be honest, my Reinker is kind of old. I shook it up pretty well, but I might not have shaken it quite enough. So I had to keep reapplying some of the ink. If you have a new one, it might not happen to you, but I did apply like 2 coats of it. Once it was done, we pull that off and it just cleans up nicely with water. But look at that shimmer. The Delicata inks are the most shimmery, beautiful ink colors ever. Ever. The whole collection is fantastic. I will say that the Golden Glitz and the Silvery Shimmer are my favorites, but they're all fabulous. You will never find a more shimmery ink pad ever. At least that's what I think. Anyway, moving on, I wanted more stars. So I did flip this stencil over. I just turned it like 180 degrees. And I'm using the Sheer Shimmer Stix Dauber top in Sparkle. This is beautiful. So pretty. Wait till you see the shine. But the color is, I shouldn't say color, it's a sheer shimmer. So it's really just shimmer. It's not really a color. It's very liquidy and it's seeping underneath my stencil. You'll see in a moment what happens. And I saw it as I was doing it and I'm like, uh-oh, this might not work out too good. And it didn't, but don't worry, we'll fix it. So the shimmer is incredible, but the stars look terrible. And I almost scrapped this whole video and said, forget it. I'm going to just start over and not use the Sheer Shimmer Stix. But then I was like, you know what? It's just so pretty. I have to use it. So instead, I decided to go over the entire thing, not where the gold Delicata is, but around all of the stars. And I just added the Stix all over the whole thing. And my gosh, is it sparkly. It looks amazing. So those stars that I tried making are gone, and that's okay because I think that this effect came out so good. And this is just a good way to show you how you can push through when an accident happens. And I think that this is one of those Bob Ross moments where you have a happy accident. Seriously, guys, look at that. It's stunning. I just love it. And I'm just showing you here like how easy that dappling motion is that I'm doing to just kind of fill in all of those areas. It dries really, really fast and you just have this crazy beautiful shimmer now. It's amazing. So now I have the Pinwheel Party from the Greetery. This is the Let's Party die. Love this collection. And we are going to die cut it twice out of this navy cardstock. I did it twice. I probably could have done it 3 times. It's a really fiddly die, and also the cardstock that I used is pretty thin, but I just went with twice. So I adhered those layers together with my on-point glue, and I really didn't want it to be blue. I wanted it to be gold. The reason I did it in blue is because if some of the blue shows, it's not a problem. Whereas if I were to go with white, it would really stand out. So I just took my golden Glitz Delicata ink pad this time and just pressed it into the die cuts and covered the whole thing. There's a little bit of blue showing here and there, but again, that's why I chose the dark blue, so that if it did show, it doesn't matter. So I'm just trying to arrange kind of where I want them to be. I'm not really sure where I want it to go. Over on the right there is the top of the exclamation point. So I'm just adding some gold to that because you don't want to leave that off, because the bottom of the exclamation point is attached to the Y. And you could cut that off, but you know, we've already taken the time to adhere those 2 layers together, so we may as well use them. So again, I'm just trying to figure out exactly where I want it, and that looks pretty good. So now I'm going to take my on-point glue again. This is the only adhesive we're using today, and I'm just going to go around that whole die cut and just adhere it. It's a little tricky to see on camera. I apologize. It's just not focusing. But it glues so nicely, and it's a clear adhesive, so you're not going to see it once we're done. I'm just using that heavy block just to keep it in place while it's drying. And now I've got the party all adhered, and now we're going to do that top of the exclamation point, and then I'll put that crystal block back on top of it just to make sure that everything sticks, because it is super fiddly, and we don't want any of it to lift. I gave that a few minutes to dry, and now we're all good to go, but we need some sequins. So I've got the Crystal Metallic Safari Card Bling from A Colorful Life Designs in my Twiddler's Nook skull tray, and I'm just using a jewel picker to kind of place these in, around the tag here and there. I don't want to overdo it, but I also don't want just 3 or 5. We need more than that because we want this tag to be super fancy. I mean, it's already super fancy, but you can't go too hard with the sequins on something like this, right? I feel like overdoing it is okay in this scenario, but I don't think I overdid it. So I'm just kind of placing them here and there, trying to decide how many I want to use. And we're going to wind up using that on-point glue again to adhere all of these down. And I have a fun way of making sure that the sequence doesn't stick to our jewel picker at all. So you'll see how I do that in a moment. And you need to use a pokey tool in addition to the jewel picker, and it makes things a lot easier. If you've watched my videos before, you've seen me do this technique, but it makes things really easy. So I've got my jewel picker in my left hand. I'm going to zoom in. That happened really fast. Sorry about that. I've got my pokey tool in my right hand, and then I'm going to also have the on-point glue in my right hand. So I'm going to lift up the sequence, poke it down after I adhere it. Lift, glue, poke down. Does that make sense? I think so. I think you can see what I'm doing here. It just makes quick work of what could be a very, very tedious process, because before I started doing it this way, the sequence would always stick to whatever jewel picker I was using. So I found that this just makes things a lot easier. So we've got that hole at the top, and I didn't really want to use the white twine that comes with the tag anymore. Originally I was going to, but we needed to fancy this up a bit. So now I've got some twine that is an ivory color with some gold threads running through it. We're just going to kind of fold it in half, push it through the hole from the back side, open the loops, and then bring the ends through, pull it down, and then you're good to go. If you want to, you can tie a knot in it, but I really don't think that it's necessary. If you're adhering it to a gift, then maybe you can, but That's it. That's our super shimmery tag. You can write on the back for an invitation. You can put it on a hostess gift, like I said at the beginning, but that's it. I hope you enjoyed this tag. I really did. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. I'll be back next time. Peace out.